Friends, welcome to the Uno platform live coding of the week. My name is Jerome. I'm from Uno platform, and I spend about an hour every week taking a look at Uno platform and .NET in general, if there's any news and that are relevant. And this week we're going to take a look at migrating the calculator project over to WinUI and single project. This is a project that we've been working on since probably the beginning of the public appearance of Uno platform about 6 years ago. And since then, that application has been migrating. It's been migrated from the original calculator code that is coming from Microsoft, and we've been maintaining it since then as a showcase of the platform. It's just the original source code with a few modifications, so that it can run with different updates that we've made around Uno. But the thing is that it's still in UWP for the version that we have, and it doesn't use single project, so it's using all sorts of old pieces of Uno that we've been upgrading since then. And you'll see with the project that I do have that it's there are a few things that are that need upgrading. So if you don't know what the Uno calculator is, it's the application that pretty much has the calculator that you have on your phone or on your Windows, and then we've ported that over to Uno so that it can run on your phone and on your tablets and on everything that is available, even the web. And so it's running with a very old piece of code that's that Microsoft has added to their source code that dates back from 1991, I think, something like that, super old. So it's a piece of C code that is an infinite computation engine, so that you basically don't lose precision when you're making a computation. But it also has a standard mode that looks like the crappy, small calculators, where precedence is not particularly good. So you can make operations in the wrong way. So you need to go to the scientific mode to get to the right computation and have parentheses and precedence set the right way. So that application has been migrated to .NET 9. You can see that with the different things that are available here, particularly with the JIT-interpreter. This is the kind of change that we made migrate to .NET 9, but it's still using the older API set of UWP, and we're probably going to be removing UWP as part of Uno, probably in the next few versions. Mostly because no one's using it anymore, at least not from the set of users of Uno, and because it's a burden on our tooling and build process. So it takes us longer to stabilize things and PRs that are provided to Uno. So it will be easier, and the calculator is probably the last of our samples app that is still using UWP. So we're going to be migrating that over to WinUI, at least for the next hour or so. Now, this is available as Uno Platform Calculator. So this is the repository that we'll be using to do the conversion, and that maybe so that conversion is probably going to be something that you can also use when doing the migrations from an older version of Uno, when you're not using single project and migrating it to a single project. The UWP part is not something that you need to be considering when doing that kind of migration. One of the other things that we want when moving to the new version of Uno is the usage of the new desktop target. And that desktop target is one that allows to publish applications on Snap, and also making applications that can run directly on macOS using Skia renderer. The thing is, and that's where it's super interesting, is that because there's this automatic Snap publication, we're going to be able to publish the updated Skia version that runs better than the current one that we already have in the Snap Store, which is using the GTK renderer. So that's going to be a benefit of the migration there. Good. So if you take a look, if we take a look at the source of that solution, we can see a few things. That it has the old heads. You can see that there's the calculator mobile, shared SKIA GTK, and UWP. So that's the kind of changes that we don't want to have. And we're going to be collapsing everything into a single project so that we don't have all those old heads and complexities that are associated to that. So to make that change, we first need to make a project that looks like the original one. And that's going to be called calculator. So to do that, and to make it easier to do the transition, we're going to be creating a temporary project that's of the same name. Oh, I see McNitz is here. Hello, McNitz. Thanks for joining again. So we're going to be creating a project that's called calculator, and we're going to be putting the files that are from the calculator project directly into the existing calculator source tree. And we're going to be moving files around so that they pretty much do the same thing as we have originally. So I'm going to create that project. We're going to be using the same target. So it's a netline project. So let's use the same thing. So we need a blank project using that 9. It doesn't do anything of those particular updates here. So we're going to be just creating that as is. For the people that have joined, migrating the UNO calculator over to WinUI and single project. Okay, so I have my project here. I can just move over to open it directly into the as a folder in the file explorer. Gonna get there. And so one of the things that happens is that the very old projects of UNO are using something that's called the share project. What we're going to do is, for now, not migrate anything that is inside of that shared folder, but we're going to be just taking everything that's part of that calculator project and put it inside the calculator shared project folder. So what that will do is that folder, we're going to be renaming it to calculator in the end, but just to avoid having too many changes directly into the Git repository, we're just going to be working in that folder specifically. Okay, so we have our calculator CS proj and global using. So that's the set of pieces that we need here. We need the package app manifest. The main page we don't need because it's already provided by the app. The app.xaml.cs we already have. We need a manifest, and we need the platform properties strings and not assets, because assets we have already. And we're just going to be moving that over to that folder. And we're going to have to change the SLN so that it no longer uses the older pieces that are coming from the old project. And we're going to be also removing the shared project here. So one of the things about shared projects is that it's a set of files that are explicitly specified. So we may have files that are a part of that particular calculator project that are not included in the existing version of the calculator. So we're going to have to figure out which ones are included and which ones are not, so that we can remove them as needed. Okay, so let's drop those files, and we're also going to drop all the other files that are there, and we're going to pick the files that are needed individually for each individual target. So we can see that the calculator WASM has a custom index file, has a tsconfig file, it has a manifest JSON for PWAs. It has an AOT profile. So all of that we're going to have to migrate over to our platform. But for now, we're going to keep it as is, and we're going to make the modifications one by one. To start with, I'm going to be using the desktop target only. It's going to be it's the easiest one to get migrated over, and then we're going to add the other platforms as we go. Okay, so we're going to move the folders over to something else so that we can. So that we can make Visual Studio just complain about the fact that it's missing projects, and so that we can rename the content more easily. Okay, so we've moved the older targets in there. This we can remove as well. It's not useful. And I think we can remove all those solution folders as well, filters as well, because we don't need them. I can see that we already have a directory build props and targets. Those are two ones that we are going to be needing. Also, we're going to be needing to move so I think it was in temp folder, the calculator. So we have also a few files to migrate over. So we have those three files that are needed. The thing is that they're already existing here, so we need to kind of merge the contents of those files, and we need the directory package props as well, so that we can use just central package management as a because it's easier to manage packages if we have multiple projects. In that context, we only have one project, but let's use it anyways. So we have that one, and then we're gonna have to compare the contents of the files here. So let's open this in. Let's open this one again. I don't know if it's gonna be the right folder. Yeah, that's the right folder. Okay. So in the props file, we have implicit usings, nullable, and a few null warrants. So let's take those and put them into the props file. I probably don't have that much. We have the rid graph here, which is an older set of properties. We're gonna see if we still need that. That is an old version, an old workaround that we had for the very old source generators before we moved to Uno 5. That we can remove. The rid graph is specifically something that's needed for WinApp SDK. But from UWP and some WinApp SDK, but we don't need that because we're going to be using the Uno SDK, so we can remove that as well. Okay, so that's that. And for the targets, we have a few here. Okay, so that's an SDK error. Probably not super useful. Probably closed since for a while. Okay, then so that's been fixed. It's a bug that was in Visual Studio when moving from Preview 7 to RC1 of .NET 9, but it's been fixed in the latest stable, so that we can remove. And if we take a look again at our project, I think the targets is empty, as well as the package prop, so we don't need to do that. We need a global JSON. So there's one here, but the global JSON is pretty much empty. Well, it's close to empty. It only has an SDK that allows pre-release, but we need to have the MS Build SDK that's included using the latest version of the Uno SDK. Okay, so that's good. We have all we need here. Now let's go open the solution and see what happens. It's probably going to complain. It is going to complain that it's missing a few projects, which is okay. That's what we needed. The calc manager, I think we can reload. So it's probably going to be missing a few things because of. So calc manager here is something that is used by. So it's pretty much a C code that is used to run the calculation engine. So we have to make sure that we can open that, but this is installing something that's related to the CRT because it's C++. And let's see if I can load the project afterwards. Oh, it restarts Visual Studio. Okay. So it's installing a few packages. That should be fast. I don't remember if it restarts Visual Studio. That feature has been there for a few versions of Visual Studio. It's actually quite useful to make sure that your project is running smoothly. We're making use of that in Uno for a specific using the .vsconfig file where you can specify which features of Visual Studio you need to use to be able to compile your project. And so we ensure that your project is in a good shape. Let's say do the same thing for Android. What does it need? Not too sure if it's gonna need something. Oh yeah, it needs it needs the same thing for Android. But let's not do this for now. We don't need that because we're not going to be building for Android for now. Okay, so we can see that the the old projects are not needed anymore, so we can take those out, and we're going to be including our new project, which is in the other folder, so in the shared folder, and we're going to take that specific project, so we can take that folder and add the single project there, so that we can make the solution all nice and tidy. Great. Okay. So let's let it build and restore a little bit. There should most of it should go away, but depending on the dependencies, no, we're good. Okay. So now we have the UNO calculator project that is including what we need here, but it's probably going to fail for a variety of reasons, most likely. So there are a few things, but there's the dependency on Win32 that we need to include. So the Win32 dependency is the one that we need when we're building specifically for desktop, and that's the one we're going to do right now. So I'm going to be removing all the target frameworks that we don't need, just to make the build go faster for now, and it's going to be a lot easier to work with. Let's reload the projects. Okay, so this is all the defaults for UNO. One other thing that we need to do is add a few sections here, just to make sure that we're going to be having the right properties set for each individual target framework. So the one that we're going to take a look at is actually we're going to be opening the folder, the old folder, using VS Code on the other side, so that we can take a look at the files here. And so we can pick up the files one by one, so that we can migrate the content properly. So the one that we're looking for specifically is the GTK one, which is the equivalent of the new desktop target that we're including in the single project. So this is the one. It doesn't use GTK anymore, and it uses X11 and AppKit and just do BPF at that point on Windows, but it's completely hidden. So you're able to just build your app and just take the binaries, put them in the whatever environment you want to run on, and the application is going to run. Because it's the same binary for all platforms. So in that one, we need a few things. So there's a store logo that we don't need. We need, so there's Lottie, but that wasn't included already. We need the extension console. That one we probably going to be including. Skia Sharp we don't need because it's included. We need Newtonsoft JSON. Okay, so let's do that. I'm gonna add them manually for now, just because it's easier to copy. We need Newtonsoft JSON. We need Nagar country, so that's the one that we use for translating, and I think that's it. That's probably going to be those that we need right now. So because it's a solution that uses central package management, we're going to have to manipulate the file that's at the top, the directory package prop here, and change our package references to be package versions. And in there, we're going to be removing all the versions because they're going to be centrally managed by the directory package props file. Okay, so that's the first change that we needed to make. What else do we have in that project? We have, so the Fluent fonts is included by the SDK automatically, Fluent assets as well. And we need to include all those binaries that are specifically used for creating your app and running your app on different targets. And depending on the platform that you're running on, we're going to be including those files in the right context. So for instance, those are going to be Linux related. Those are Windows. There's Win32. So there's a x64. Those two x64, which is interesting. There are a few links here. I'm not too sure exactly where that goes. Probably, I thought we had a x86, but doesn't look like it. We have the Win64. We have that one is for Linux, and I thought no, there's none for Linux for Mac OS, but we're going to include that for the other targets, so that's good. Okay, so we're going to take those, and we're going to include that into a switch group, choose group. Sorry. So in a choose group we have when, and then in the when we're going to use a condition that says if the target framework is desktop, we're going to be including those references here in the item group. So those are specific for the target framework .NET desktop. Those are specific to the target framework .NET desktop, and then they're pretty much taking the dependencies from that particular project, so Win32 here, and it allows the app to run properly. So that's pretty much what we have right now. So on the other modifications that we need, we have everything that's included as part of the startup, particularly with regards to loading the different libraries. So that's the one that we need. So when we're on Win32, we need to have a custom library loader that will pick up the Win32 libraries for the library name that's called Cat Manager. And once we have that loaded, we're going to be able to run the application and have the calculator manager running at the right place. So for that context, because we're moving from GTK to the desktop target, we're going to be moving that program here. In that program, we're going to be adding the library importer at the top, as well as picking up the import resolver and put it at as a method of our program class here. That's the first one. Now, what we can see is that there are a few things that don't work. For instance, the app cannot be found. This is most likely because the namespace is not the right one. So we're going to have to change the namespace of the namespace here to put it to the right name. And it's called calculator app. So the project is called calculator, but the namespace inside is calculator app. So we're going to be changing that along. So app doesn't have initialized logging. We're probably going to have to add that. This was part of the original project, but it's not there anymore. So let's open the original project that we have here, and we're going to put the block that's for the logging at the bottom. We're going to be including that in the app XAML so that it looks like the other targets. Originally, that block was not shared. It was specific for each platform. That was annoying to say the least, and now it's been moved so that it's available everywhere. There's the initialized logging that's available somewhere. We're going to be using the same one that we have for the other targets. Actually, no, maybe not. No, actually, it's already there, but no, let's remove that. We're going to be using the existing one. I thought it was in a separate file, but that's not the case. It's everywhere, but we need that to be public so that it can be used from the program.cs. Okay, there we go. So we have our builder that's okay. It's building properly. Now, what we're going to have to do is to change all those Windows UI something to go to Microsoft UI something. So we're going to be just blunt. That's one of the, if you take a look at the step-by-step guide that we have on Uno platform to migrate a project from one platform from UWP to WinUI, that's where you can do that kind of replacement. And it's pretty easy. You take Windows UI XAML and then you replace all of that by Microsoft UI XAML. That's pretty much what it is. So there's a lot of changes because there's a lot of code, but that's pretty much what we need to do. And you can see that there's a lot of changes because the resources and there are many resources that are declared for that project. They referenced explicitly a type that is coming from WinUI or UWP at the time, so it needs to have a newer updated namespace for that particular tooltip service. Great. Okay, so we're down to a few things. We have the initialize component that's not happy, but we're going to take a look at that after. We have the launch activated event args, which is not the right one. So this has been moved between UWP and WinUI to something else. This is coming from, if I'm not mistaken, Windows application model, and we're not using this one anymore. So we're going to be removing the Windows application model. Let's remove all three just to see what's missing. Okay, so that is good. This is the previous execution state, and that has been moved to be UWP launch activated event args. Same thing for the pre-launch here. We still have the initialize component not working, but it's probably because of something else. So to determine what's happening, we're just going to be building the project directly and see what's not working. Okay, so we can see extensions logging not working because there are a few dependencies there. So we can probably remove that dependency that we added directly because it's included already. We're going to be removing that part. Let's try it again. Okay, just a few errors. Okay, so we have a few warnings here, but let's take a look at the errors first. Okay, so it says that navigation view list cannot be defined in this because it's not available, and that's one of the reasons. So the navigation view list is something that was part of UWP, and there was a navigation view as part of WinUI 2, and when migrating to WinUI 3, there's another navigation view. So we may need to adjust a few things here with that control, and we're gonna find where that goes. I'm not sure what that is. Okay, so that's in the main page. We have the navigation view list here. So the paint footer, navigation view list. Okay, so nav footer, we have about button. That's inside just one content. I'm not too sure if we need to do that. Okay, so let's remove it for now. We're gonna make the change afterwards. So there were a few things that probably got fixed a while back, but that we're gonna change afterwards. So let's not concentrate on that specific issue for now. We're just going to be removing or commenting out what's inside the stack panel so that we can move and see what else we need to fix first. Okay, so let's build again and let's see what's missing. Okay, a lot more errors. We're going to be moving the Uno. We're going to be removing the Uno 001 for now so that we can have less noise. And then we're going to be turning it back on depending on what we need. Warn. Let's build again. Let's see what we have. Okay. Quite a few warnings, but that's okay. Okay, so font weight is not available, and that's probably because there was a change in the there's a change in namespace for font weights, if I remember correctly, and we need to include using Microsoft UI text instead. That one is going to be resolving the font weights directly. Localization service is probably the only one. What else do we have? There's no overload for Windows side change that uses this particular delegate. I'm not sure. Okay, so that one is using Windows UI Core, which is not the right type. So we're going to be removing this and use the right namespace. So fully qualifying the event arc. So we're going to be using the Microsoft one. Also, we have the nav footer that doesn't exist, but that's expected because we've removed about page, and we're going to be changing that very soon. Same thing for that, but I think it's the same. Yes, that's the same error, so that we're good with that one. There's a pointer type changes that are not good, so that has changed as well. This is a different namespace now, so we can use the Microsoft UI input instead. What else do we have? we have same thing, so calculation result that uses explicit types for pointer. But that's probably because there's a namespace that's defined at the top that uses Windows device input, which we can remove. Okay, there we go. And let's see what we have next. Okay, a bit more errors. So the only errors that we have left are the nav footer and the about page that is not available here. So we're gonna be that's pretty nice that we just have that that kind of errors. So we're gonna change that to go to something else. So navigation view list is something else. I don't know if there's something that was, I think it was migrated to something else. Let's go take a look at the Uno platform source. Actually, let's open the Uno source from here. It's gonna be easier. So if we search for navigation view list, let's see if we do. So navigation view list is not something that's coming from. It's not available as part of the newer version of navigation view. So there's the Microsoft one. So you can see that there are two versions of navigation view. There's one that's in the old UWP namespace for UWP, and there's another one that's in the Microsoft namespace, so the Mux namespace, and we're going to try to find the new type for this. So is there one? So there's navigation item presenter. That's not the one that we're looking for. It's probably changed names altogether, so let's see if we can find another replacement for this. So there's that presenter. Looks like it was replaced entirely with that presenter, so we can't really reuse that. So maybe we can just put the item directly there and not try to bend it to do what we need. So the important portion that we need is that navigation view item that's defined here. So maybe we can just put it directly at the top and get away with it. That could be enough. I don't know what I did here, but okay, there we go. We're gonna put it directly here. The nav footer we're gonna be removing because I don't think we need it. Maybe we will need that one for the open pane length, but I'm not too sure yet if it's gonna be enough. So we're gonna see. It's just a flyout, so it doesn't need that much. Let's see if it builds. If we have all the items. No, it's still failing, but it probably is because we have the nav footer that doesn't exist. This is just a materialization. Okay, that's something that we need, that we use because we didn't have xload. Actually, this is something that's useful. So maybe instead of using the namespace, we're gonna call that nav footer instead. That will allow to use xload to false. The point of this is to not preload the nav footer if we're already in collapse mode. This is useful when we're in on a phone, or for instance on a tablet, and you're using the side view if you're on iOS. So nav footer should be here. There you go. So just opening the pane will materialize nav footer as a result, because we're doing a finding here. Si Gabriela has joined. Welcome. Bon dia. And we're migrating the Uno calculator to WinUI and single project. Okay, succeeded. Well, there you go. That's nice. So is that enough to make the app run? Let's see. So we need to select the right target framework. and see if the app starts. Okay, so the app doesn't start. It's I don't know what it's doing, but it's not showing anything. So we're gonna have to figure out what's happening. It's probably an exception showing up somewhere that prevents anything to work here. So let's go and poke at the exceptions. Okay, there you go. Unable to load DLL Calc Manager, one of its dependencies. Okay, so that's probably because the registration didn't work or because the lookup didn't work or something like that. So this is related to the code that we added here with the set DLL importer, set DLL import resolver, and maybe there's something that is not loading properly. So let's see if we go in that folder. So we do, and we're trying to look Calc Manager win32.dll. Maybe that's what's not working. So we can go take a look at the output folder of the app and see if there's everything that we need here. So we're looking for Calc Manager Win32, and it doesn't look like it's in there, but it may be in the output folder for Win64 here. So we can see that there's libskia sharp, so that's good. That's what we need. But the calculator native library is not in this setup folder. So we need to change that. And that's probably related to the inclusion that we've done here. And that may be because the files are not there at all. So if we go take a look at that x64 folder, we're going to see if we get our output. It may be that it's not built at all. Yeah, it's not built, so that's why there's nothing. Okay, so let's build that specific project and see if we get something out of it. Okay, so it says build tools for 2019 are not there. Okay, so that we can change. It's just an option, set of options that we have in there. It's using the platform toolset for Visual Studio 2019. We're just going to bump it to 2022. We're going to have to do that for all platforms. Well, no, we don't need to do that. And for all configuration, do we need to do it? Nope, that's good as well. So we're good. So let's build again and see what we have. Is it building this time? Okay, no, it's not working. Okay, so that's the the portion of C++ that are making a lot of fun. So maybe we're not building with the right target. So we're building in any CPU. Maybe that's not the right one. So let's go and build for x64 explicitly. Does it work better? It does. Okay, so there's an importance here with the different targets that we need to build. And here we needed to build for x64. And we should be having the file that are located in the right place now. If we move one folder up, we have x64, debug, and then we have our Calc Manager here, the DLL that we need put in the output. So we're going to be rebuilding our app. And let's see what happens. Now this time we should be having the files located in the output. So win x64, do we have our Calc Manager? There it is. So that should be enough for the app to start properly without raising an exception. So we have our import resolver that's working for the calculator. There's no such pass, but that's fine. And let's let it continue. Oh, there you go. That's migrated already. That was fast. Okay, well, we have, this is using the new version of the navigation view, so that's what we need. The about is pretty ugly, so we're gonna have to change that. It's probably missing something there, but we can probably change it. And is it working? It looks like it's working. No, cannot found. Oh, that's interesting. There was an exception. Dayloader. Okay, so it's probably failing for a few reasons, but that's okay. It's probably expected. I know that there were a few things happening there. Okay, there you go. Okay, that works. That is working, and it's running pretty well. Well, that was fast. That was fast. So we migrated the Uno calculator from WinUI to from UWP to Win32 to WinUI. I'm sorry. So do WP to WinUI and then use the single project for desktop. So that's good. So that looks like it's working properly. If we do, yeah, that's looking nice. Okay, great. Okay, so we're done with at least one target. So that's pretty nice. It's good enough. We should be able to run it on Linux, I think. Now, running on Linux is a little bit different because it needs to have a specialized builds. I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to build the target already there, but because we need to have GCC installed properly, so I'm not sure, but we can try. Let's try it. So the calc manager in here has a set of dependencies. There's a set of build scripts that allow to build the native native binaries, but we can see here it's using G++ and everything like that, so not sure if it's going to work, but let's try it and see if it works. So if we do, I've got latest Ubuntu, and I'm going to be trying to go to that folder and run that file directly and see what happens. Okay, so if I use WSL path, and I need to go to the calc manager folder. Okay, and then I need to run the build Linux file. Okay, required file not found. Why is that? Required file not found. It's supposed to be executable. It should be enough. Required file not found. I don't know what that is. I'm going to take a look at which which line is causing the issue. Cannot execute. Required file not found. That's interesting. Okay. Okay, maybe it's caused by the fact that there's that at the top. Maybe bash not available there. That would be surprising. Okay, that's what it is. Okay. Maybe bash not installed. That could be. Okay, so we're gonna change. We have to change the line endings to be what we need, and we can see that the calc manager is not using the right target, so it's building for a arch. It's trying to build for G++, but it's not working. So I'm not going to install everything. We're going to keep that running on the CI, so that's good enough. We're going to go and take a look at the other targets so we can get it to run properly for the other targets. So one that we needed was to make it run on Windows using WinUI. So that's the next target that we're going to be enabling. And that one is going to be using the Win32 as well. So because it's WinUI, it doesn't need to have all those fancy UWP binaries. So you can use the original binaries. That's good enough. We're still going to have something that does the import resolver. It actually may not be needed. That's something that's of interest. Let's take a look, because this was required for the lookups, but I'm not too sure. Oh, that's got to be needed because we have the Win32 endpoint here, so that's required. We may have to move that to another location because the sources that we use for desktop are not going to be executed, so we may need to move that to app.xaml.cs. Okay, so if we move that, we're going to be adding the WinUI target here. And reload the project. We're going to be moving to WinApp SDK packaged so far. So let's try it out just as is to see what happens. It's probably going to fail for the same reason we did fail originally, because of the dependencies not being loaded, but that's gonna be enough. Okay, so it fails for which reason? Okay, reveal background brush doesn't exist. Yes, so that's a type of brush that was not available, that is not available anymore. So we're just going to be removing those altogether. We're going to be using the version, the non-reveal version of it. So same thing here. I'm going to be removing that one. Same thing for this one. Same thing for this one. We may be able to use mica instead. There's probably something that we can do after, but not for this particular change. Okay, let's try again. So it's still complaining about a reveal brush. There's probably others. Yes, let's remove that one. Okay, reveal brush again. Another reveal. There's an acrylic brush, but that one I think is there, but we have it's the background source that is not available, but that's good enough so far. Okay, still building. This is good. Okay, still, so it's fading again. For which reason? App doesn't contain a definition for suspending. Okay, that explains. This is something that we use for Uno specifically. It's not something that that is available as part of WinUI, at least not in that context. But we still need it because of the support for mobile targets, so it's available on app directly. Looks like it's going further. Yes, it is, and it's deploying the app, and it fails because it's probably using the any CPU. Just want to make sure that we have the right deploy here. Yes, we do. It needs to be deployed before you can debug. Okay, so there's probably something else that's missing here. It says that it needs to be deployed, but let me just close Visual Studio quickly and start it again and see. Sometimes when adding new target frameworks, the configuration manager is a bit lost. So I'm gonna try again now. If it still doesn't help, we're gonna be manipulating the calculator path here. Maybe that's in the properties file. So we're still using WinUI SDK package projects. That's good. Still not that. We're building the project, so that's supposed to be good enough. I wonder if there's something else. I know that in some cases Visual Studio is complaining because it's not reloading the project properly. It needs to be deployed. Okay, so let's see if we uncheck it and then check it afterwards. Okay, still no. Okay, then let's see. Reloading Visual Studio maybe? Still not that. We're gonna try with the unpackaged one. No, still not working. Maybe there's another error that shows up that says, ah, I see. Okay, so the error is not really... Okay, so the deployment error is not really related to deployment, an issue. It's just because we have an app manifest validation. Okay, so the properties is incomplete because the DT schema is not the right one. Okay, so that maybe the package app manifest is not the right one. That may be. Okay, so we're setting identities properly, so that's good. But the manifest must be valid. Content for element properties is incomplete. So this is supposed to be filled up by automatically by Resizedizer, but for some reason here it's not generating the right content. That may be a bug. We're gonna go and look at the output of Resizedizer. It's supposed to be generating an app package app manifest. Let's take a look at the side. Let's see what we have. We have a properties here. That's good. It's supposed to be filled up, but for some reason, it's still getting picked up as the wrong file. What could be the issue here? So the files are located in the right place. It's not included automatically. There's nothing here that causes the file to be present twice. So that's not that. The package app manifest is at the right location, so that's good. Or maybe we do have the package manifest and it's in the platforms folder, but that's not supposed to be the case. No, it's good. Let's clear all that up and see if there's something wrong here. If it's still doing the issue, it may be because the file is not used at the right place. It may be a bug in Resizedizer, which could be caused by the fact that we have maybe wrong namespaces, or I'm not too sure exactly what that would be, but we're going to go into the build log and see if we can find what is causing the deployment issue. Okay, so the package is still using the wrong file for some reason. So we're going to be changing that and see if we can find why it's generating the wrong file. So that would be, let's do a clean. We're going to go take a look at the output file and why it's generated in the wrong place. Or why it's not using the right file, because it's supposed to be using a file that's from the object folder. It's not using that one. It seems to be using the one at the top. It's not supposed to be that. So let's figure out which one it is using. So we'll need to have a package.app manifest, apex manifest. And it would mean that, so the manifest that's generated is this one. It's supposed to be in the M folder, and then the input should be this particular apex manifest input. So we're using the right one. Or maybe the file that's in that location is still incorrect, which may be the case as well. That would be surprising, but that's not impossible. So if we go to Resizedizer and open the file, okay, so yeah, it's still, okay, it's missing something. So that's what I was missing. So I didn't take a look. So it's using the right file, but the reason it fails is because it's missing the logo content in the file. And the reason for this is because we have not specified the right assets for the logo. That's what's happening. So in the assets here, we're supposed to be having, well, there's a lot of assets here, but there's not the one that we need. So what we're going to do right now is just pick up the calculator, the asset that we had in that folder for the icons. And we're going to be changing that and use the automated generation so that we have the right assets. Because Resizedizer is supposed to be doing all of this, so you can see all the calculator app lists, contrast files, and that is just a very large list for no good reason. At least now that we've moved to a single project. So we're going to be taking one of those files and then generating those for the rest. Okay, that's good. So that is working properly. Or at least it's compiling properly. Now it's failing because when we're in WinUI, we don't have window current content. We need to use something else. And to do that, we're gonna take the original code that's from the window here. So we can see that if we're when we move to WinUI, we can use the actual window to create a new window. So we're going to be moving over to that model. Okay, so we have our main window. We're going to be picking up the main window here. There's our main window. So it's not nullable, but we don't care at that point. And then we're going to be changing everything that says original window to be main window instead. So everything that was a Microsoft UI window current, we're going to change over to be our window with the content. And it should be enough for getting everything to run. So still have that current window here for the window that we can remove. It's not useful. This is static but not useful. Okay, that should be enough. So Gabriel, for the build logging here, this is not something that's by default in Visual Studio. If you want to enable it, you need to go to extensions and search for project system tools. Once you have that, you can install it, and then there's going to be an option that shows up in the other window, build logging, and then when you click that, it will show up the build logging option here. And then when you're done, you can go to you can right click and then do open logs external. And to open an external, you need to go to the bin log viewer and install that tool. Install that tool. It will allow you to build everything and to view everything that the build is doing, and it's super useful. That's Kirill Senkov, who's working on this. Amazing guy. Building that tool, and it's my go-to for debugging builds in .NET. Okay, so we're good. We've built, we've done our app here. What do we have? We have a reference to our static field that's not working because it's not a get view state. That's interesting. So that was supposed to be static, but our main window is not static, so we're gonna put that static instead. Let's put it as static for now. That should be enough. And well, let's put it public for now. Okay. So we have our dependencies set up properly with the right visibility, and we should be able to run the app on WinUI if all goes well. Good. Okay, so it's still failing. Let's see. There's probably some exception somewhere. It's lingering. Let's figure it out. Specified cost is not valid. About what? So we're trying to do something with the pre-launch, but that's not useful. So let's put that for Uno only. Because it's not useful for the rest. If it's Uno, we're going to do that. So this is options that kind of stayed there as a result of WinUI 3 being at some point in the past compatible with UWP. That didn't stay long. Afterward, they moved over to be packaged and Win32 based and everything. So that's why there are a few properties like that are lingering, but that they're really not useful. So I'm not sure if it's going to fail. Maybe it will fail on that one as well. What do we have? Oh, I probably... Yep. My if was a bit too large. Okay, looking good. And And we have an exception. Yes, we still have an exception, but this time it's saying something else. So XAML parsing failed. It doesn't say why, but for that we can go and so there are a few things. So there's maybe something that we can see inside of the exception. So we can maybe in the view details, maybe there's something in there that tells us where the exception is coming from. No, it doesn't look like it's saying it. So we're going to have to go and debug in native mode or mixed mode. So to do that, we need to go in launch settings for our packaged one, and we're going to do native debugging set to true. If we do that, there's going to be a little bit more debugging information showing up in the debug output. But not this time. Not this time. It's just an unspecified error. Maybe there's more in here. No, it doesn't say. Okay, so in main page.xaml, there's something that is breaking up. In some cases, this is caused by resources that are not available, but doesn't say what. So I'm not going to be debugging this because it's just annoying. But what you can do when you get to that kind of issues, you can just remove things one by one and see if there's anything that can cause the issue. And it's very likely that the issue is related to the fact that there's a style that doesn't exist. So to find it may be difficult. In that case, that's probably what it is. It's supposed to be. We're supposed to be using WinUI 1.6, which is supposed to be giving us more information, but in that context, not super useful. So let's go back to the desktop version, and we're going to figure out how to fix that navigation view item stuff that we have at the bottom, where we have a navigation view style that is not the right one, and it's not showing the navigation view item properly. So to fix that, we may need to change a few things. Probably we're going to have to remove the WinUI version of the target framework. Otherwise, it's going to build for too many targets. Yes, it's going to take too long to build, so we're going to be removing that target so far. Okay, so that is something that we don't need. And the app is running. See, there's the heart reload still there. And so the about is still not showing up as if it were a standard item, but I think we had a bug fix somewhere that helped for that, and we're going to see if the dev version of Uno is fixing that issue. It may very well be. So to find out which version we can use for the latest, we're going to go to NuGet Package Explorer and search for Uno SDK. Private one, and search for pro releases, and we're going to be using that version, and we're going to see if it's fixing the issue. So we need to restart Visual Studio because we're changing the SDK. And let's see if it fixes anything. So we made a lot of changes around templated parent and the way the template bindings are evaluated, and in that context, specifically for navigation view items, if there's something that changes in between, like the style or something that is not working properly, that may be one of the case where it doesn't work. So we may need to do something about it for that, and I think. Oh, I think I know why it was set up that way originally. So one of the things, and that's related to a bug that we had before. One of the things that happens when you have a list view, a navigation view item, is that by default, if you show it up, it will not display anything. It needs to be moved to a specific state. And the reason it worked in UWP is that it was set inside of a navigation view list, which sets the state properly. So we're going to have to change that and make it work that way. So you can see that the about is still not working. So to do that, we're going to go to the change that we made in the main page, I think it was. So let's go take a look at the main page. I think it was the main page here. We had a materialization of an element somewhere in there. No, that's not the one. It's not the one either. I think we had a find name somewhere. Oh, that's the one. Okay, so in the nav footer here, what we're going to do is we're going to search for that specific item, so the navigation view item, so the about button. Actually, we can probably just pick that one up directly. And we're just going to do a go to it's Visual State Manager. Go to state, and then that's the control. And then we're going to have to use a specific, so we don't need the transition, but we're going to need a specific visual state. So that one I don't remember by heart. And to find it, we're going to have to go to the navigation view. So we need the WinUI 1. So the WinUI 1 is in the Fluent Theme v2 in priority defaults, and it's navigation view here. And there's navigation view item somewhere in there. Navigation view item. Navigation view item. Okay, so we got navigation view item, and inside there's supposed to be a few visual state that can be executed. So in our context here, that would be unannotated navigation. So that's the on left navigation. I think that's what the one that we need. So we need to go to state for the left navigation so that it sets the style of the navigation view item presenters. Otherwise, there's nothing and it won't show up. So in our nav footer here, actually let's put a breakpoint just to make sure that we have one. So one of the things that's of interest here is that since we've put our nav footer in an X load, what that does is that originally, and that's going to be one of interest, is that if you put a breakpoint here before the find name, if the navigation view is not open by default, which is the case when we open the app, you're going to see that the app button property is going to be null because it's not been materialized. And when we do the find name, then at that point it signals that the item should be opened. So we can take a look here. So about button is null, and when I move to the next one, then app button at that point gets materialized, and then you can manipulate it and do what we need. So if we go ahead and take a look, still not working. Okay, so this probably there may be something else. Maybe the go to state is not the right one. So we need to go to state. So go to state was the right one, but maybe it's the navigation view item. So it's setting the property. On left navigation is not the right one. So that's not good enough. So we're supposed to be setting the right style there, but it's not set. It's not set properly. Maybe there's another bug that lingers there that's supposed to be allowing us to set the right state, but so we were in version 2, we're on left navigation, that's supposed to be the right one. Oh, we have to set it on the grid, not on the control itself. That may be why. Okay, so we need to take the root element of that control. Maybe that's why it's not happening. Not too sure. No, that's supposed to be enough, but not sure. So let's try to do that one. So that's change in behavior between UWP and WinUI, where the content of that control is not set properly. So We do a find name here and use the NVI root grid. Maybe that's enough. Well, that's not a control, so that's not supposed to be having an issue here. This is a control. This is supposed to be the right one. So maybe we can go and debug that and see what happens. So we've materialized the item, and we're changing the styles afterwards by setting it to left navigation here. But for some reason, it's not materializing it properly. We're going to state. Oh, okay. That explains it. There's no template root. That may explain why it's not working. So maybe it's not because it's not been loaded. Okay, so let's try to do this that way. So if we do app button, we're gonna do that unloaded. See if it helps. Gonna do that unloaded. And this time, I would guess that going to Visual State Manager is working. So just to say what happens is that when we do the go to state, we're trying to get the template root, which is going to be the first item of the control. But in that context, it's not been materialized. So there's no, the template was not loaded. So there was two ways to do it. Either we call apply template, which can materialize the template, or we wait for the control to be loaded and then we change the style. That we change the state. That can be. We're gonna try both. We have 5 more minutes, and that should be good to validate that. I see there's quite a few people on YouTube. Thanks for joining. That's nice to see YouTube people. Okay, and we have nothing. Okay, so it's not showing up at all. Is it because there's a sizing issue? Oh, the about is there. So it's because the about is just not showing up. Okay, so it's still not working. Let's see what we have there. Are we going into the loaded event? Maybe that's what's not working. Okay, so we're going into the loaded events. That's good. Do we have a template root? We do. And we have Visual State groups. We found our group. We have a Visual State Manager. Go to state core. That's not what we need. Nope, that's not good. I probably jumped too fast. Let's retry. Go to state is supposed to be doing something, but it looks like it's jumped. Okay, so jumping here, go to state. Oh, is that go to element state? Okay, so that's a specific method. We have the Visual State groups. We have groups. We have one group. And then we do get the Visual State Manager, but don't go to state core. Okay, that's good. I jumped over it, but that's not what was required. So we're erasing the change. We're doing the go to state for the group. And then there's no animations, there's no current, there's no target. We're running the animation. Oh, is that an exception? Looks like an exception. We stopped here. That's not good. Let's retry. Okay. So let's see if I go here again. Okay, no, it's continuing. Just the debugger that didn't like what we wanted to do. And It applied to set target, so we need to go at that location. If we retry again. We have too many animations at the startup of the app, so it's not useful to break here. Let's break in the apply state target. Oh, there's a bit too much animation there. Oh. Okay, so we need to break a bit before, so that we don't hit it on every animation. Oh, yeah, there's a bit too many animations there. So let's enable it only when we are moving here. Okay, so we have the animation working. We're just going to jump over to the next. And then we're going to be applying the different target setters. This is going to be enumerating all the setters that are in the style. And it's supposed to be applying the value. So we have one setter. That setter is a style setter. And it's supposed to be applying a new style to the element. And here we can see that we're setting a new style. That style is supposed to be on the navigation item presenter. That is supposed to be good. It's being set properly, but for some reason, it's being set back to something else, or it's not working properly. That may very well be. Okay, so it seems like we have a bug there because it's supposed to be materializing content, but it's not being applied. We have the latest version of Uno, so I'm going to have to discuss that with one of the devs because it's not working properly. One of the things that we can try, though, is instead of waiting for loaded, we can just go to apply template here directly and not wait for the loaded event to happen and see if it helps. But by the looks of it, it feels like we still have a bug of when we're applying the styles for controls, because it's supposed to be changing to the left navigation style, but it doesn't look like it is visually, at least. No, still not working. Okay, so we have another bug. It's either a bug inside of the navigation view item, or maybe something else. Maybe it's because it's a navigation view item presenter. Maybe I'm not looking at the right one. We had the navigation view item. It's supposed to be that one, so no, it's working. It's supposed to be working properly, so that's the right style. Maybe I could set the navigation view item presenter style directly, just to see if it works, but so far it doesn't seem like it is. Okay, so we have a bug there with that item, so we're gonna have to figure that one out. But I think you got the gist. We've now been able to move from WinUI, from UWP to WinUI, and from multi-project to single project, at least for the desktop one. And we can repeat the process of taking what was there in the previous project to the new project, and make sections that it applies just for the target framework that is needed. So that's it for this week. I hope you learned a bunch, and until next week, happy coding. Bye for now.